Hey guys, JLV SWGOH back again after a long hiatus, and today I'm bringing you a video just in time for Revan's second run around, and this video is Mission and Zaalbar 101. I'll be doing a deep dive into this synergistic duo from the game, their stats, abilities, and where they're useful in the game right now. So without further ado, let's hop into the basic descriptions of them and their abilities. Starting with Mission Vao, who is a light side Old Republic scoundrel attacker and is described in game as a slippery scoundrel attacker who blinds her enemies. Mission only has 2 abilities and 2 uniques, which is sort of a smaller kit for nowadays. Her basic, Don't Blink, deals physical damage to target enemy with a 70% chance to inflict daze on them for 2 turns. Mission then gains 10% turn meter if the target enemy was debuffed. Mission's first special, Street Smarts, on a 3-turn cooldown reads, Mission dispels all debuffs on herself. She then gains 50% turn meter and stealth for 1 turn. Mission and Zaalbar gain protection up 50% for 2 turns, and inflict blind on target enemy for 2 turns. Some small things to note about this ability. The 50% protection up that Mission and Zaalbar are both gaining is based off of Mission's health pool. And this ability is the only ability in the game as of now that inflicts blind. And blind, for those of you who do not know, is basically reverse foresight. So if a character is to use an ability and they have blind on them that does damage, it will miss, unless stated otherwise that it cannot be evaded. Mission's first unique ability is called Now You See Me, and it reads that Mission has plus 80% potency and inflicts damage over time on a target enemy for 2 turns when she uses an ability. This cannot be evaded. While an enemy resists, Mission gains plus 20% potency stacking until she inflicts a damage over time effect. Something to note about this ability is that they don't have to resist the specific damage over time from the unique. It's whenever they resist anything Mission does, like her basic daze or the blind on her first special, she'll gain the potency stacking anyway. Her second unique and her last ability is called Me and Big Z Forever, and this is her Zeta unique. Mission has plus 50% offense. If Zaalbar is present, he also gains this bonus. Once per turn, Mission assists when Zaalbar uses an ability. When Zaalbar takes damage from an attack, Mission gains 10% offense stacking for 2 turns. When Mission deals damage to an enemy, Zaalbar recovers 10% health. 2 things to note about this unique ability. The part that reads once per turn, Mission assists Zaalbar when he uses an ability is the Zeta for this ability. And this also counts for when Zaalbar counters and when Zaalbar is called to assist. So this is a very useful Zeta if you're running the duo. And also the 10% health that Zaalbar recovers is 10% of Zaalbar's health, not Mission's. The reason I love Mission's kit so much is it's very much basically an attacker that gains boosts off of hurting a tank. So if you're forced to attack the tank, there's a deadly attacker behind it that does more damage the more you damage the tank, which is a very strong kit. Now that we've covered Mission Vao's kit, we're going to move into her friend Zaalbar's kit. Zaalbar is a light side Old Republic scoundrel tank and is labeled in game as a versatile scoundrel tank with a powerful AoE attack and reactive taunt. Zaalbar also has 4 abilities just like Mission, and with the same setup, 1 basic, 1 special, and 2 uniques. His first ability is his basic called Stalwart Ally, and it reads deal physical damage and inflict 2 damage over time effects on target enemy for 2 turns. Zaalbar recovers 10% health. Right off the bat, the big thing for this ability is the 2 damage over time effects on target enemy. You'll see a lot of stacking damage over time effects, and it really helps out when we read further into Zaalbar's Zeta ability. Zaalbar's first special is called Power Blast. It has a 3-turn cooldown, and it reads deal physical damage to all enemies and gain taunt for 3 turns. On a critical hit, inflict armor shred on target enemy for the rest of the battle. As you'll see from the footage, this attack does decent damage for a tank AoE, and also the armor shred is only inflicted on the enemy that was targeted for the main blast of the AoE, and the critical hit can be on anyone. Zaalbar's first unique is called Wookiee Toughness, and it's very basic but very effective. Zaalbar gains 20% defense stacking each time he takes damage from an attack for 1 turn. This unique is basically half of Kylo Ren's unique. That's what it reminds me of. Kylo Ren gains stacking defense and offense each time he takes damage. With Zalbar's stacking defense, it's actually additive, meaning that when you hit him once, it'll be plus 20% defense. You hit him again, plus 40, plus 60, plus 80. Not that he gains it every time, but just that's how much defense he'll have. So if you have hit him 10 times since his last turn, he will have currently plus 200% defense. Zalbar's second unique is called Mission's Guardian, and this is where his Zeta is. And it reads, Zalbar has plus 25% critical avoidance. If Mission is present, she also gains this bonus. When any other ally falls below 100% health, Zalbar gains Taunt and Retribution for 2 turns. At the start of each of his turns, Zalbar and Mission recover 10% protection for each damage over time effect on enemies. The Zeta for this ability is the 10% protection for each damage over time effect. This is a very powerful effect if you're running Mission and Zalbar together, as there's lots of dots being thrown around and lots of protection regen coming around when Zalbar takes his turn. I will say this Zeta is probably less useful than Mission's, but this Zeta is not to be messed with and can be very, very powerful and keep Zalbar and Mission alive for a very long time. Now that we've covered all the abilities of Mission and Zalbar and seen their kits, let's move into their stats just real quickly before I move into gear and things like that, just so we can see how they stack up against other characters in the game. So some of the stats that I've chosen here to tell you, in my previous 101 videos, I went very deep into, ability, damage, stuff like that. But you can go to Star Wars galaxyofheroes.gg, swgoh.gg to check out those stats. I'm just going to provide you with the stats that are most important to their, role, such as tank or attacker. So for Mission, her physical damage at base is 3,042, which is 45th in the game. And funny enough, it's actually 13 rankings behind Zalbar as of right now. So while that may seem bad, even though physical damage is lower, Mission is usually hitting for 28 to 30k on her basic, while Zalbar is only hitting for around 9 to 10k. Mission speed is 146 with the Gear 12 Plus pieces and 134 without, which is 66 in the game. And she's tied, just to give you kind of a perspective of around where she is, she's tied with Resistance Trooper and Darth Traya. So moving into Zalbar's stats, I only have 2 stats for you, but they're both very, very important for Zalbar's role. And that is his base protection is 47,453, which is actually the number 1 in the game. Zalbar has the most base protection of any tank in the entire game, and you can easily boost his protection to above 100,000. And his base health is the other stat I'll share with you. He has 44,582 base health. This is number 5 in the game. And sadly, as a tank, but also expected, Zalbar has a speed of 118. That's with Gear 12 Plus. Without, it's 106. So now that we've gone through stats for each character and their abilities, you may be wondering, yeah, these characters seem good, but why should I farm them? Why are they as good as other characters I can farm? And the main reason you should farm them is actually because they are needed. They are 2 of the 5 needed for Jedi Knight Revan. Jedi Knight Revan is widely considered the best character in the game right now as of February 2019. Jedi are ruling the meta, and their teams can basically auto every other team. It's pretty crazy. And Jedi Knight Revan is also a huge asset for even mid to end game players. So having the Zalbar and Mission to beat the event and unlock Revan is super important. So where can you farm these 2? Well, Mission is farmable at Cantina Battle 7A for 16 energy. This is a very arduous and long farm. So anyone trying to get Revan, I suggest you start that pretty soon because it's very long. Zalbar is available in Fleet Battle 3C Hard for 20 fleet energy, and also in Light Side Hard Battle 5D for 16 energy. And also to note, some other places where you can get shards for them, the Heroes of Legend bundle that comes around every time Jedi Knight Revan event comes around, it is $30 and you get 50 shards for both Mission and Zalbar. Another place that you can get shards for Mission and Zalbar is the Faction Pack for the Old Republic. It costs 699 crystals and also usually comes back around when Revan is around. And you only have a chance to get 10 shards for each one, and it only gives you one character per pack. But you also have the chance to get 330, which is a very small chance, but it is possible. And lastly, like most every character in the game, you can also pull shards for Mission and Zaalbar out of Chromium packs. So now you know where to farm shards for Mission and Zaalbar. You've gotten them both to 7-star, but they're sitting there at gear 1 and you want to know how hard they are to gear. Well, great question, and let me answer it for you right now. So starting with Mission. Mission is quite a pain to gear, I would say. She requires 6 pieces of Rancor raid gear, 3 furnaces, 2 scanners, and 1 droid collar. She requires 250 Mark 6 syringes, 200 Mach 3 stun guns, 140 Mach 4 laptops, 120 Mach 3 discs, 100 Mach 8 gold eyeballs, and 150 Mach 9 gold data pads. One good thing to note about Mission Vow is that even though she requires 6 pieces of Rancor raid gear, she only requires 1 Carbanti, and it does kind of suck that that 1 Carbanti is used in a stun gun package, so you need a Carbanti and a stun gun. However, that is all she needs. She just needs 1 of them. However, Zaalbar's gear cannot be said the same. While he only needs 3 Rancor raid gear, 2 droid collars, and 1 scanner, he does require 300 Mach 3 Carbantis, 150 Mach 5 stun guns, 200 Mach 3 stun cuffs, 150 Mach 8 gold eyeballs, and 80 Mach 4 laptops. So obviously this is just some of the gear that I thought was most important for, at the top of the list of most used, but obviously there's some other gear pieces they use. But all in all, they're not too bad to gear, unlike, characters like Thrawn or General Kenobi. So the last aspect of Mission and Zaalbar that I want to move into before talking about where they can go around the entire game is their mods. So Mission should be best modded with a critical damage set and a critical chance set. The cross mod should focus on offense, the triangle mod should focus on critical damage, the circle mod should focus on protection, and the arrow, obviously, speed. And some secondaries you want to look out for Mission are speed, offense, and crit chance. For Zaalbar, a speed set and a potency set are recommended. For the cross, triangle, and circle mod, all protection primaries are recommended, and for the arrow, obviously a speed mod. For secondaries for Zaalbar, you want to look out for mods with speed, protection, and potency on them. Now that we've covered all the stats and abilities of Mission and Zaalbar, I want to move into where in the game they're good in. You have them farmed up for Revan, and you want to know where else you can use them. So the first big area, which is Arena, and that seems to be where people focus most of their time in the game. And actually, Mission and Zaalbar are very, very good on an Old Republic team with Revan as lead. In the footage above, given to me by End All Be All, you can actually see that Old Republic with Mission, Zaalbar, Bastila, and Jolee can beat the normal Revan Jedi team. You could also run a Scoundrel team if you're in a lower end of Arena, like a Kira lead with Mission, Zaalbar, Enfys Nest, and Vandor Chewbacca. But other than those 2 teams, in Arena, Mission and Zaalbar don't have too big of an impact in the Arena scene. And while in Arena the Scoundrels aren't that great, Territory Wars is where they really shine. Because you can't use your Old Republic team because you want to focus it more on having a Jedi Revan team, Zaalbar and Mission are very, very good on Scoundrel teams. They usually take a higher tier team to take them out, so you can usually waste through someone's Traya or Palpatine lead. So Mission and Zaalbar are both pretty good in Territory Wars under Scoundrel teams, but just kind of like Arena, they don't have many other teams that they work very well on. And another team that I forgot to mention that's very good with Mission and Zaalbar that just recently came about is Zeta Karth Onasi lead. That team with Mission and Zaalbar tends to do very, very well because of all the damage over time and because they're both Old Republic. In territory battles, Mission and Zaalbar are very solid. They're basically like the Chirrut and Baze Part 2. Chirrut and Baze have a lot of healing, and even though they're rebels, that makes them a little more viable for the territory battles because there's a lot of rebel leaders. If you just throw Mission and Zalbar under, say, Kira, or even Karth Onasi recently added, they're really, really good. And while I myself don't have Zalbar's Zeta, it makes him very survivable for long-term events like Territory Battle waves, where there's 6 waves. In Grand Arena, it's basically the same as Territory Wars and Arena. You run them on a Scoundrel team. But in 3v3s, they work very well, as I said, with Karth Onasi, and you could even run Karth Onasi with Mission and Zalbar, and then run a separate team with Kira, Vandor, Chewbacca, and Nest, or you can do Kira lead with Mission and Zalbar, whatever works. But if you have both teams, I would suggest running Kira with other Scoundrels and taking full advantage of Karth Onasi's lead with Mission and Zalbar. Last but certainly not least, we have the raids. In the Rancor, Mission and Zalbar, the Rancor is pretty trivial at this point, but they are very fun to grant giant culling blades to Darth Vader, as you can see on the screen. For the tank, now that C-3PO's out, that raid has also become kind of trivial. I can say the Old Republic team is very fun. It's not fantastic, but if you're farming Old Republic early, you can get out like 30% of Phase 2, which is pretty good. It's about 5 million damage with the full Old Republic gang. And lastly, the Sith raid. Now, Mission and Zalbar are very good in Phase 2 under a team made by Mick Mole, which is as he labeled, the Mission Impost Zalbar team. And this team is able to pump out almost 10% of Phase 2, which is absolutely insane. And Mission ends up getting her damage up into the 100,000s, as you can see on the screen from this screenshot. So I'll leave a link in the description to his video on that, so you can go check that out if you're more interested in this raid strategy. So now that we've covered raids, we've covered gear, mods, abilities, and stats, that will officially wrap up the Mission and Zalbar 101 video. Thank you guys for staying tuned to the channel. I know I haven't been uploading a lot lately. I want to get another 101 video. I've had a bunch planned in recent times, and I've kind of scrapped them because of meta changes. But anyway, this has been Mission and Zalbar 101. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.